Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. In today's show, Simon shares how to eliminate parent guilt and the strategy behind if your children are happy, you're happy. If you're happy, your children are happy. Simon's mission is to help families to be happy, and if parents are suffering from parent guilt in any way, then they're not in the best place to be who they want to be for their kids. Simon started working with kids in 2013 and found his true vocation: inspiring kids to be happy and working with their parents to do just that. So sit back and enjoy today's show. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go.
Hi, good morning, and welcome. I hope you are exceptionally well this morning, this Monday morning. I've booked a lot of these slots, booked a lot of Monday morning sessions because I want to be a little ray of light in your life on a Monday morning. Who doesn't need a little bit more light in their life? So for some of you who saw me last week, you're perhaps thinking, has this guy only got one shirt? Well, the answer is no. I've got 57 shirts at last count, but this is kind of my trademark, my happiest shirt, my loudest, most fun shirt. So it puts me in the right frame of mind. When I pull this on, I know that I'm going to be doing my very best to brighten up your day, because there's a lot of darkness out there, isn't there? The media seem intent on scaring us, scaring the bejesus out of us with everything that's going on with COVID. And I was thinking, I saw a headline yesterday, and it said, so still reasons to be optimistic. Well, for me, there's only ever one reason to be optimistic, and that's because I'd rather not be pessimistic. It doesn't actually make me feel good being pessimistic. I wouldn't choose to feel good. None of us would choose to be pessimistic, would we? But you'll say, there's all this negative stuff going on around us. Yeah, it gets me too. It gets me at times too. I am not some kind of Tony Robbins all the way through. Nothing upsets me. I'm just gonna, nothing gets me down. I'm just going to life hack and brain hack my way to happiness. That is not me. That is not me. I don't think it is real. And we want real, don't we, at the moment? We want real, we want true, but we don't want all this negative stuff. A friend of mine once met Tony Robbins, and she said that she couldn't relate to him whatsoever when he was on stage, but she did relate to him when he completely lost it backstage with his wife or something. And he had a complete meltdown, and he seemed real. People want real rather than professional. Who wants professional? We want authentic people. I've seen a lot of stuff coming from the States where people use kind of vulnerability as a strategy in selling their business. So for those of you who are into online marketing and Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, I went to Tennessee in February this year. Saw my first mass, actually. COVID was on the way. First mass in the airport, and people were on stage, and they were following Russell Brunson's approach, which is great. But they all sounded the same, and they were using vulnerability as a strategy, and it's not true. Anyway, I've been going a couple of minutes now, and I haven't got round to the subject of parent guilt because I just wanted to brighten your life up in any way that I possibly could. So, parent guilt. What a horrible word. What a horrible word to describe what every parent has always thought since babies were born. They worried that they weren't doing enough for their child. So as an entrepreneur, you may be, like me, consumed by your business. You're consumed by your business. So I'm in the business of showing parents how to help their children be happier, more confident, resilient, and bulletproof. That's my bag. That's my mission. That's my social enterprise. That's the change that I want to see in the world. And I am totally consumed by that. And I'm sure that you're consumed by your business as well. What happens is then we're consumed by that business and we get a whole, as my wife's uncle once said, I don't own my business, the business owns me. And we get into a place where our business is taking up all our time. It's it consumes our attention, like social media consumes our attention. And we worry that we're not spending enough time on our kids. So that's one of the big things that I hear from entrepreneurs, that they feel that they're not, they're set up in business to live life on their terms. And what they found is that business just grew and grew, and their passion and their desire to make a difference, and make impact and make a great living out of making that distance is taking over their lives. And they're thinking, what the hell can I do? Because I'm not giving my kids the time that they need. And so somebody comes along with this term, parent guilt, to describe what they're feeling, and they think, yeah, I've got that. And if we're in that place where we think we've got a problem, the problem gets bigger, and we get consumed by the problem. And if we're consumed by the problem, then we're not consumed by the solution. Okay, so for me, parent guilt, it's a description. It's shorthand. Parent guilt is shorthand for what every parent has ever felt. A lot of mums and dads that come to me are struggling with divorce, or they've been through divorce, and they feel another sort of parent guilt. So they feel guilty because their child or their children has now only got one parent, and they're consumed by the guilt of, did they do the right thing or not? In the heart of hearts, they left the marriage because they knew it was a loveless marriage, or they left their partner because they knew it wasn't working out. So in that moment, they knew exactly what they had to do. It probably took a while to get to that point. But then after the event, this guilt kicks in. Did I do the right thing or not? Did I do the right thing? And again, this nagging voice in our head that tells us, questions us, and it's very contradictory. That voice in our head is very contradictory. So one minute it says, yes, you did the right thing, and the next minute it says, no, you did the wrong thing. And so we have a civil war going on in our heads. But this civil war isn't civil at all. It is non-stop, round and round, contradictory statements. And all this again is basically shorthand. The shorthand for this is parent guilt. And when we're in that place, we aren't in the best place to run our business. We aren't in the best place to be with our kids, with our family. So people say that parents are as happy as their least favorite child, least favorite child, the least happy child. Parents, so I'm as happy as my least, but it works the other way around. So your mood, their mood determines your mood, and your mood determines their mood. And obviously, this has been even trickier in with the homeschooling and the lockdown. So the happiness of the family has been even more closely intertwined because we've been with our kids all the time. One of my clients last week, she said, the kids have gone back to school now. This is the first hour that I've had without my kids since March. And so our relationship, our happiness as a family unit is very intertwined and interlinked. And if we're suffering from parent guilt, then we're not. We're doubting ourselves. We're thinking that we are not good enough. We're struggling. And if we want our kids to be happy, but if we're not happy ourselves, because we've got all this rubbish flying around our heads, that then it's just going to take us down. I was talking to a mum on Friday, and she's homeschooling her boy now because of the bullying that's been going on, and this and the whole mood around this poor woman. My heart really went out to her, but she was so far deep in the hole. I tried a few things. I couldn't get her out of the hole. She was what a mentor of mine calls an underground daffodil. So she was buried so deep that there was no way that I could pull her out. She had to make some. She had to move closer to the surface, and she wasn't ready to do that. She wasn't conscious enough to do that. She wasn't ready. So we're all doing the very best that we can, given how our mood is and how we are in the world. Every mood, me, you, everybody, we're all doing the best that we can. Got a lot of people struggling from this parent guilt. And parent guilt, have you heard this phrase? I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a thing. So what we've done is we've taken something that is a feeling, and we've come up with a term for it, and we've thingified it. We've made what was a feeling, we've made it a thing, and now the thing kind of takes on a life of its own. It gets legs. It's got credibility. It's got gravitas. It's got, what's the word? It's got substance. It is a thing. It has become a thing. So the metaphor that pops into my mind, it snowballs. So I absolutely loved when it's funny, isn't it? When we're kids, when I was a kid, and it snowed, I loved that. I love the prospect of a day off school, but I also loved making snowmen and snow houses and stuff like that. And so how I would make a snow house, like an igloo thing, is I would roll. They always fell in, they never would. But you take a little snowball and you roll it, and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and bigger. It's got more substance. It's bigger. It's got more substance. It's bigger, and then you put the two of them together. Then you pack it all, and then you go inside and you dig it all out. But the thing is, parent guilt is just the same. It's like a snowball that gathers pace, gathers solidity, and it becomes more meaningful. We're worried about the parent guilt. We're paying more attention to the negative voice in our head that says that we're not doing enough for our kids. and then something happens, and something happens, and our kids feeling worse. The confidence has dropped, or the self-esteem has dropped. They're being bullied, or whatever happened, and then the parent guilt gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So how do we eliminate it? How do we eliminate it? Well, the reason we eliminate it is by seeing that it's not a thing. It's not a thing. So it isn't a snowball. The snowball melts. The sun comes out, the snow melts. The igloo house that I had built, it melts over time, and it becomes a pool of water. And then when that evaporates, there's nothing there. Parent guilt is exactly the same. So how do we melt it then? How do we melt it? How do we see that there's nothing there? Because remember what I said, right? We've thingified it. Somebody has made a feeling that feels real. They've made it into a real thing by calling it parent guilt. But it was never a thing. It was only ever a feeling. And our feelings come and go. I mean, our feelings come and go. Our feelings come and go with the thoughts that are associated with them. The thoughts drive the feelings, and we have 70,000 thoughts a day. Okay, 70,000 thoughts a day. So if I'd asked you how many thoughts you had a day, would you have said 70,000? My guess is probably not, because we're not aware of the thoughts that we have. Many of our thoughts are subconscious, aren't they? We are not. They are below our consciousness. We are not aware of them. So how we eliminate parent guilt is by seeing that it has no substance. And how we do that is by shining the light of consciousness. Like the light of the sun melts the snow, the light of consciousness, me talking about this stuff to you, and you maybe hearing it, so it's not what I say, it's what you hear. So you may be looking at you may be listening to me now thinking, this guy's a bit of a muppet, I don't believe a word he's saying. So you might be saying that, or you might be saying, yeah, there seems to be a ring of truth. There's a ring of truth to what this guy's saying. So it's not what I say, it's what you hear. We bring but by talking about this, I'm bringing the light of consciousness to bear on this snowball of thoughts that we've called, of feelings and thoughts we've called parent guilt, in the hope that you can see through it, see through the illusion of parent guilt, see that it's not the truth. The fact that you are watching this video means you're a good parent, because good people want to learn. Good parents want to become better parents by learning what's holding them back. You're not set in your ways, you're open to change. And for that, I applaud you, because most people aren't open to change. They're not really that open to change. They don't put themselves, they don't hang around at the bus stop looking for insights and change. No, they are watching pictures of cats on YouTube. So I take my hat off to you. I'm a guy that has made a load of mistakes, and I want to learn from my mistakes. I want to become I want to become a better person. I want to become a better husband and a better guy and make more of an impact in the world. And to do that, I've spent a lot of time learning to understand all this stuff and learning to change. So, because change comes from inside, doesn't it? Change comes from when we see something new, when we see through, the lies that the voice in our head that tells us that we're not a good enough parent, that we're not a good enough person, that we're not a good enough entrepreneur, that we're not having the impact that we want to make, that we're not a good enough son, whatever. I get that all the time. That voice in my head, it never shuts up. I just don't take it as seriously as I used to do. I don't trust the negative voice in my head. And what I'm trying to do with you this morning is urge you to eliminate parent guilt by seeing that it's not the truth. You're doing everything that you can for your child. You are a great parent, or else you wouldn't be listening to this. You would have just ignored it. You just ignored it. You see, most of the time, most of us aren't choosing how we feel. As adults, as parents, entrepreneurs, we're not choosing how we feel most of the time. So if we're not choosing, it's not our fault. So I remember hearing something a few years ago. You cannot afford the luxury of one negative thought. I thought, well, that doesn't really help me because I have negative thoughts all the time. And now you're telling me that the negative thought is going to impact the future. We hear this stuff from watch this, The Secret 15 years ago, whatever it was when it came out. And then you kind of you worry about worrying. You start to believe that having a negative thought is going to stop you manifesting what you want, and it's very confusing because you wouldn't choose to feel like that. You wouldn't choose to feel like that. Nobody would choose to feel parent guilt. Nobody would choose to ever think I'm not a good enough parent. So you're not choosing. You're not choosing your thoughts. You're not choosing your thoughts. If you're not choosing them, it's not your fault. How about that for an idea? It's not your fault. You're off the hook. You don't need to worry about that parent guilt anymore. You don't need to worry about stopping it. Instead of trying to change it, you see through it. You see through it. You see through that to see that it's not the truth. It's not the truth about who you are as a parent. And you don't need to go on all these people selling you courses to retrain your brain. Well, you've been on this planet for as many years as you've been on it, and over that time you've accumulated a load of thoughts and feelings about yourself. Me too. And those that conditioning, that script that you've been handed down from my called friends of mine, the big people that made a big difference in my life, Richard and Liz, they've got this concept called the script. So that all the negative stuff that you've picked up from the world around you is a page in a script. So the idea that I start with a silly one. The idea that the weather determines our mood. You know, that you should be sad because it's raining. It's nuts, isn't it? That's in your script. The idea that it's here's another one for you. So some funerals are celebrations of the life. Isn't that how we would choose to look back on somebody that we've lost? I mean, we would choose to celebrate. The idea that we are not good enough, the idea that the world is a scary, dangerous place, COVID. We picked up all this stuff. There's a program on last night called Us, and the father said to the 17-year-old son, the world is a scary place. Well, if you think the world is a scary place, then the world will become a scary place. If you think parent guilt is a thing and that you've got parent guilt, then it will seem real to you. And it feels so bad, doesn't it? It feels so bad. It feels so real. But it never was. The parent guilt was never real. It was never a thing. It was a feeling. And our feelings come from our thoughts. Most of the time, most of us aren't choosing the thoughts that lead us to feel that the way that we do, feeling guilty. There's a physicist called David Bohm said, thought creates our world. Thought creates our world. So our experience of the world, that's what it means. And then says, I didn't do it. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look that the thoughts are creating world. It looks like the world is real. It looks like it's a scary place. All the headlines say it's a scary place, and we end up not choosing. We end up taking all that negativity that there is in the world around us and believing it to be the truth, and it holds us back, and it makes us feel bad. Here's the thing. I choose to be optimistic about the future because I know I know that how is my optimism or my pessimism actually going to affect COVID? Probably not one jot, the impact of COVID. But it makes a difference for me right now. As my friend Richard says, how about enjoying the future before it happens? And people say, you can't do that. People say to me, you can't do that. Well, you can worry about the future. You can worry about your child doing X, Y, or Z. You can worry about it before it happens. You can worry about it. So what if you could enjoy it before it happened? Then it doesn't really matter if what you're looking forward to happens or not. You've enjoyed your life whilst you're looking forward to doing that. And this is a big learn for me recently. I've worked with 1,600 kids, and before I started working with parents, worked with 10s, 20s. How many parents have I worked with? Probably closer on 100 now. So, but the guilt that I have is that I've only worked with 1,600 kids and only 100 parents. And how nuts is that? When I shone the light of consciousness on the snowball of my guilt about the number of kids that I'd impacted, the number of parents that I'd helped with their kids. But that went on for years. These feelings are very compelling, very believable, but they're not the truth. They're not the truth. Parent guilt isn't a thing. It's a feeling. Feelings come and go. Feelings come from your thoughts, but they're not the truth. They're not the truth of who you are. You wouldn't have got to this point in the session if you hadn't seen something here. So I would encourage you to keep looking, and let's bust this. Let's eliminate this parent guilt by realizing that it's not true. Realizing it's not true. It's not true. It's not you. You wouldn't choose to feel like this. So I'm about done, I think, for this morning. Check me out at simonbenn.co.uk. As I say, I've worked with 1,600 kids so far, and 100 or so parents. So my stuff with parents is my ability to communicate with parents is, I'm still on the steep part of the learning curve. The kid stuff, easy as pie. I've been doing it 7 years, 1,600 kids I've worked with. So, so if any of this makes any sense to you at all in my early stages of communicating this with kids, then get in touch. So it's simonbenn.co.uk. You find all my contact details on that. It's 2 N's in Ben, simonbenn.co.uk. And I look forward to seeing you. See you very, very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.